Leroy Sané's new club, Arsenal to sign Real Madrid talent? Guardiola prepares £120 million bid for Newcastle star, and Pogba's new club will surprise everyone. All this and more in today's episode. Are you ready? Then let's get started. João Pedro, the precocious young talent lighting up the wing for Brighton, has become a hot commodity for giants like Liverpool and Arsenal. Heck, even Manchester City are keen to get their hands on this Brazilian gem. At just 23, the hype surrounding him is already massive. Liverpool were the first to show their hand. And you know what? My gut tells me this is more than just casual interest. It seems Arne Slot sees a spark, a real potential in him, especially considering the Reds might lose Salah next summer. The Liverpool bosses are surely scratching their heads, wondering who could possibly fill that gaping void. Pedro isn't a direct replacement for Mo, of course, but the lad's got fire in his belly, and under the right manager, he could blossom into something truly special. And what about Arsenal? The Gunners are no slouches either, and Mikel Arteta clearly sees Pedro as a way to bolster their already potent attacking arsenal. His speed, dribbling, and ability to do the unexpected are exactly what's needed to unlock those stubborn, deep-lying defenses. Plus, the competition for a starting spot would only push the Brazilian, forcing him to work his socks off in training. And then there's Manchester City. What can you say? Pep Guardiola simply can't resist a talent like this. He's like a gourmet chef, always searching for the most exquisite spices to add to his culinary masterpiece. Pedro at City? That's a statement of intent, a declaration of their ambition to dominate the Premier League for years to come. Can you imagine the competition for places? It would be nerve-wracking every single week. The numbers being thrown around are substantial. Liverpool and Arsenal are reportedly ready to splash between 55 and 65 million euros. But Brighton are shrewd operators. They don't let their stars go easily. Heard about 70 million euros? Rumour has it the Seagulls' appetite has grown, and they're now demanding a cool £100 million. After selling Caicedo for a crazy sum, they've clearly got a taste for it. Can the big clubs stomach that kind of price tag? Pedro himself, they say, wouldn't mind a change of scenery. The Champions League is a powerful magnet, and it's understandable the lad wants to progress, play at the highest level, and compete for trophies. Liverpool, Arsenal, City, these are clubs where you can not just play, but make history. Surrounded by world-class players, he's bound to develop into a true footballing monster. But here's the million-dollar question. Does Liverpool really need Pedro right now? Yes, they have issues in attack, especially at the number 9 position. Nunez, to put it mildly, hasn't exactly been consistent. But Pedro is more of a winger or a second striker. Will he be Salah's replacement? That's a big question mark. Although, who knows, maybe Slot sees him in a new role, unlocking his potential in an unexpected way. Or perhaps Liverpool are just throwing up a smokescreen, trying to distract their rivals, a diversionary tactic to pull off some other, more cunning deal. It's impossible to know for sure. All in all, it's a complex situation, and the intrigue is only growing. Where will this Brazilian talent ultimately land? Will he become the next star at Anfield, the Emirates, or the Etihad? Only time will tell. What do you think? Where will João Pedro end up? Will he be a valuable addition to Liverpool, Arsenal, or Manchester City? Share your thoughts in the comments. Which team, in your opinion, needs a player like him the most? And is he really worth the money they're asking for? Don't be shy, let your voice be heard. Leroy Sané to Liverpool as Mo Salah's replacement sounds like another transfer fairy tale, but when sources like Christian Falk get involved, it's worth taking a closer look. So, what's happening at Anfield? Mo Salah is stuck in a contract negotiation stalemate. His departure is no longer just a rumour, but a real possibility. And who will fill that void in the Reds' attack? Sané emerges as the number 1 candidate. The German winger, only 28, could become a free agent next summer, and let's be honest, his return to the Premier League would be quite intriguing. Liverpool has a chance to get him for free. In a world where wingers are sold for hundreds of millions, this looks like hitting the jackpot. But here's the question. Can Sané handle the role of the main attacking engine? Let's recall his years at Manchester City. Fast, technically gifted, he tore apart defenses and was a key player in Pep Guardiola's team. However, his goal-scoring stats at Bayern Munich are a bit underwhelming, a maximum of 8 per season in the Bundesliga. Compare that to Salah, who has already netted 16 this season. The difference is noticeable, isn't it? On the other hand, Sané has some aces up his sleeve. He knows what the Premier League is all about. He's used to the speed, physicality and intensity that reign supreme here. And if he can rediscover his best form, then why not? Last season, he had an excellent partnership with Harry Kane at Bayern. Could he be the same for Darwin Núñez or Diogo Jota? It's a rhetorical question, but you have to admit there's food for thought. The situation is complicated by the fact that Bayern clearly doesn't want to lose Sané. His current salary, a hefty £317,000 per week, could be a problem for Liverpool, but a free transfer significantly reduces the risk. On the other hand, the lack of a new contract offer from the Munich side is strange. Perhaps the club is looking for a younger and cheaper alternative. If so, Sané certainly won't want to sit on the bench at the peak of his career. And another important point: playing style. Sané is certainly not Salah. He's less prolific, but more creative. He can not only finish attacks, but also initiate them from deep. This makes him a versatile player, capable of adapting to Arne Slot's tactical plans. But will that be enough for fans accustomed to seeing a king of goals and assists on the right flank? Salah is not just a player, he's a symbol of an era. His departure will be a blow to the heart of Anfield, and anyone who comes to replace him will be under immense pressure. Can Sané handle this role? Or will he become just a shadow of the great Egyptian? Liverpool fans are surely already building theories and debating whether the club needs such a player. Options to replace Salah have been discussed for a while now, but Sané is a special case. His move could be the start of a new chapter in the Reds' history, or just another transfer disappointment. Do you think it's worth the risk? And here's the main question: who's next? If not Sané, then who? Share your thoughts in the comments, like and subscribe so you don't miss the latest football transfer rumors. Diego Simeone has set his sights on Darwin Núñez. Can you believe it? El Cholo has fallen for the Uruguayan forward, and this means Darwin could be leaving Anfield. Honestly, after his arrival for a record £85 million in 2022, it seemed like this guy would turn the Premier League upside down. But where are the goals that make the stands erupt with excitement? Where is the consistency for which he was signed? On the pitch, Núñez is an enigma. One moment he's shooting like a sniper aiming for the goal, and the next he's playing rugby, sending the ball soaring over the stands. Tactical naivety? Arne Slot is trying to defend his player, but how many times have fans held their heads in their hands after his missed chances? The match against Girona is just another example. Yes, he ran. Yes, he fought. But when it came time to score, what did we see? That's right, nothing. Atletico Madrid and AC Milan have already smelled blood. In Madrid, they even sent scouts to watch Darwin in action. Apparently, Simeone believes he can get the most out of Núñez. Ironic, isn't it? Liverpool never saw his leadership qualities emerge, and now he could become the trump card for Los Colchoneros. By the way, AC Milan is also keen to restore the Uruguayan's shine, but can he handle the Italian tactical school if he's struggling in England? Darwin's problems are just the tip of the iceberg for Liverpool. Arne Slot is, of course, trying to improve the team's play, but who will he use in attack if Núñez leaves? Diogo Jota is talented, but his frequent injuries make his reliability questionable. Cody Gakpo? More of an option than a long-term solution. Luis Diaz? Yes, he can provide cover, but he's not a centre-forward for years to come. And here we are, back in a vicious circle. Could selling Núñez be Liverpool's salvation? Perhaps the club is simply tired of the forward's constant ups and downs and wants to free up the budget for other transfers. After all, the rumours of interest in Martin Zubimendi and Juan Pedro confirm the Reds' intention to strengthen as early as January. But what happens if there's no replacement? Darwin Núñez is a story of great hopes and great disappointments. Perhaps he just needs a different coach, a different environment where he can unlock his potential. Simeone, with his passion and iron discipline, seems like the ideal candidate. But can Darwin himself withstand the demands of Atletico? That's another question. And what's next? If Liverpool is indeed preparing to part ways with Núñez, can the club find someone who will restore the fans' faith? Or will the fans have to watch another transfer lottery? Or maybe Darwin will find himself in Madrid and prove everyone wrong. Let us know in the comments what you think about Darwin's potential departure. What do Arsenal and another attempt to win the Premier League have in common? A thirst for creativity and a desire to prove that this team is finally ready for the top. And who would have thought that their answer to the midfield question might be in Madrid, in the person of Arda Güler? Yes, that's him, the player who has already won the hearts of fans in Spain but has yet to find a place in Carlo Ancelotti's starting lineup. The question is, who will make the first move, Arsenal or Guler himself? If rumours are to be believed, the Gunners are seriously considering bringing in the 19-year-old playmaker in January. Mikel Arteta is apparently tired of the gaps in the team's attacking play, especially after injuries and fatigue to key players. And here comes Guler, a guy with a golden left foot. But let's be honest, is he ready to become a key element in Arteta's team? Real Madrid, meanwhile, finds itself in a difficult situation. Ancelotti seems to want to give the young talent a chance, but how do you fit him into a squad where competition for a place on the field is not just a battle, but a full-blown war? In the entire season, Guler has only received 477 minutes on the pitch. Can you imagine what that's like for a player who's shown at the Euros? So, Arda himself is starting to lose patience. Hence the rumours of a possible loan in January. And, it makes sense. If Real Madrid really doesn't want to lose the young talent forever, why not send him somewhere where he'll get playing time? And Arsenal is not just an option, it's a potentially ideal home for the Turk. Mikel Arteta loves working with young players, and the Gunners' style of play is perfect for such creative performers. Will Guler be able to break through the heavy traffic in Arsenal's attack, where there's already Ødegaard, Saka and Martinelli? Or will he become a victim of his own versatility, ending up here and there, but nowhere specifically? While Carlo Ancelotti maintains a mysterious silence and the Spanish press cautiously hints at possible changes, Arda Güler continues his difficult life in Madrid. In 18 matches this season, he has scored only 1 goal and provided 1 assist. Not because he's bad, but because he simply isn't given enough time to develop. If the move does happen, it will be a kind of chess move for both Real Madrid and Arsenal. The Spanish side will be able to keep the player under their control, giving him the opportunity to grow outside the Bernabeu. And the Gunners will get a chance to strengthen in the middle of the season, which could be crucial in the title race. But are both sides ready to take the risk? And what is more important for Guler, stability or ambition? Think about it. If you were in Arda's shoes, what would you choose? It's hard to say, right? And that's exactly what makes this news so exciting. So, Manchester City, are they stalling? 10 games, 1 win. What the hell is going on, guys? 9 points behind Liverpool. It's not just smoke, it's a full-blown fire. The Champions League is in doubt, and Pep, it seems, is clutching his head. And rightly so. We're not used to this kind of City, let's be honest. This isn't the well-oiled machine that was tearing everyone to shreds just yesterday. Where's that juggernaut that used to steamroll everyone in its path? And now, salvation appears on the horizon. Bruno Guimarães, the Brazilian magician from Newcastle. This guy is like a breath of fresh air when your lungs are full of dust and fumes. Guardiola, like a seasoned surgeon, sees him as the solution. 100 million euros. Pfft, they're ready to shell that out to reclaim their title as monsters. But here's the thing, Newcastle are digging their heels in. 120 million, hold on tight to your wallets. The Magpies' ambitions are growing like mushrooms after the rain, and they're clearly not keen on giving away their star player mid-season. You can understand them, really. Bruno, it's not just a transfer, it's a bomb that could explode the entire English football scene. His energy, his creativity, it's like a shot of oxygen for City's suffocating midfield. Remember how they played before Rodri and De Bruyne's injuries? How they weaved their magic in the center of the park? And now, the Citizens' midfield looks more like a collection of disjointed elements than a well-coordinated orchestra. They're missing that spark, that drive, And that's where Bruno comes in. But, on the one hand, City has the resources. We're not talking about pocket change here. On the other hand, Newcastle is holding their talisman tight, and they don't give a damn about your millions. Remember how Pep wanted Bruno in the summer? Back then, City chose to bring back Gundogan. Now they're kicking themselves. That's what happens when you don't outsmart fate and the transfer market. January. It's the month that can turn everything upside down. And if Guardiola manages to snatch Guimarães from the Magpies' claws, it will be a statement of intent. A statement that everyone will hear. But what if he doesn't? What if Newcastle stands firm? Then City's season will definitively turn into a sorry spectacle. It'll be a real shame, honestly. And here comes the moment of truth. Will Bruno be the joker that pulls City out of the quagmire? Or will the Citizens remain a pale shadow of their former selves? And what do you think about all this anyway? If someone had told you a couple of years ago that Paul Pogba might join Manchester City, would you have laughed? Probably. But here's a fresh one. According to reputable sources, the citizens are indeed considering signing the French midfielder. Pogba, who is currently serving a suspension, could be back in action as early as March, meaning City could well try to add him to their collection of stars. First off, this is a genuinely serious move from Manchester City. Rodri's injury has exposed a weakness in their midfield depth. Yes, Pogba has a completely different playing style, but remember his best years: fantastic passes, powerful long-range shots, ball control. All of this could help City strengthen their position in the title race. But there's one big but. Is Pogba himself ready for this? To return to the Premier League and to the camp of his former bitter rivals at that? On the one hand, Pogba at City is a slap in the face to Manchester United. But does the French midfielder have any fond memories of his old club? His departure in 2022 was more of a relief for both parties. So, perhaps a move to City would be a chance for Pogba to prove to everyone that he's not a spent force. But let's face it, can Paul Pogba become a key figure for Manchester City? It's hard to give a definitive answer to that question. When he's in form, he's a world-class player. But how many times have we seen him let down by injuries or inconsistency? In recent years, his career has been more like a roller coaster. Ups, downs, and then another period on the sidelines due to injury. And now, after a long break, it's hard to say whether he can return to his previous level. Interestingly, Guardiola himself has always been a fan of Pogba. Even when the Frenchman was playing for United, the Spanish coach publicly expressed admiration for his talent. This means that Pep genuinely sees potential in him for his team. But how logical would this move be? Pogba is a risk. He could be a powerful reinforcement or a burden. Taking him on a short-term contract until the end of the season? Perhaps that's the ideal option. Give him a chance to prove himself and then see how it goes. And yet, what could this move give Pogba himself? Perhaps it's a chance to reboot his career, to return to the highest level. After everything that's happened in recent years, this really seems like the only way out. Or maybe he should look for a quieter club, where he can regain his fitness without undue pressure. But let's be honest, Pogba and tranquility are incompatible. This guy has always been in the spotlight, and his career is an endless series of headlines, scandals, and unexpected twists. So why not add a new chapter to this story? Will City sign Pogba? Can the Frenchman return to his former level and prove to everyone that he's not finished yet? These are questions we don't have answers to yet. But one thing is for sure, if this transfer happens, we're in for something spectacular. What do you think? Would you like to see Pogba in a Manchester City shirt? Leave your comments, share your opinions, and we'll keep you updated. While we're all here reading the tea leaves, trying to guess who'll be at the helm of PSG next season, whispers are coming from backstage that Luis Enrique has apparently already signed a contract until 2027. That's a bombshell, if I'm honest. However, it seems the Parisian management isn't rushing to beat the drums and launch fireworks. And you know why? Because the Champions League, that eternal thorn in PSG's side, has shown its teeth again. And at the most inconvenient time, of course. Seriously, tell me, is anyone surprised? PSG and the Champions League are like a perpetual drama with comedic elements, where the main characters keep stepping on the same rake. And so, against the backdrop of yet another European embarrassment, rolling out the news of a contract extension is, shall we say, at the very least, not quite the done thing. But, you know, there's an interesting nuance here. PSG's president has been showering Enrique with compliments lately. He's been going on about some long-term project, vision, strategy. You get the picture, right? It kind of hints that the decision has most likely been made. And the Spaniard himself, if you listen to his interviews, isn't averse to looking beyond the horizon. He talks about prospects, about the future. It's like they're deliberately pouring fuel on the fire, preparing us mere mortals for the inevitable. And this raises the question, when in fact will this triumphant horn sound? Most likely when PSG finally breaks through to the next round of the Champions League. Now that would be a moment. Victory on the field, followed immediately by confirmation of the coach's trust. Beautiful, damn it. But what if it doesn't happen? What if PSG stumbles again? Well then, as they say, they'll have to lay their cards on the table. There's no escape. You can't hide an all in a sack, although, if time allows, they could wait. Weather the storm, so to speak. Let the passions subside, the emotions settle, and then, like a bolt from the blue, ta-da! We've extended the contract. The effect will undoubtedly be there. Personally, if I'm honest, I have serious doubts that the failures in the Champions League are entirely and completely Enrique's fault. Seriously, this tournament has been like a cursed place for PSG, and it remains so. Even if you change the coach every season, the result is usually the same. Maybe the problem is deeper, maybe it's something else. A thought comes to mind about the French Championship. No offense, but the level of competition, to put it mildly, leaves much to be desired. PSG simply doesn't have any decent sparring partners in the domestic arena. They demolish everyone there, and then they go out against, say, Real Madrid or Manchester City, and it's like they're playing a different sport. There's no tension, no that hardening that's needed for big victories. And so it turns out that when the Parisians face a truly powerful opponent, they simply aren't ready for that level of resistance. This is, of course, just one theory, but in my opinion, it has a right to exist. In any case, the fate of PSG in the Champions League is still a mystery shrouded in darkness. What do you think? When, in your opinion, will they announce Enrique's contract extension? And, most importantly, does he deserve it, in your view? Share your thoughts in the comments. I'm very interested to hear your opinion.